an absolute character, a blagger, a genius. And there's no American accents here. This is Postal Boy talking politics, talking funny stories from being on the road. And, I just had many happy memories with Jake. Everything. Probably my favourites when he joined us on stage at the Barrowlands when we did a cover version of Louis Armstrong, and that went into the Jerry McKell song that we do. That was a funny moment. And it meant a lot to us just to have him on stage with us. And he did loads of DJ sets for us as well. He played the Loch Lomond Boat Party, played raves, afters, parties and stuff. So, many happy memories. And it's obviously a bit sad listening back to this interview, but it also gave me a good wee chuckle. And I hope it does the same for you. It's an absolute pleasure and an honour to introduce the very Reverend D. Wayne Love.
Brothers and sisters, may the peace that can only come from the one God be upon you. We are here to tell the people that we hear you. One God will not allow us and people of conscience to lose our morale. We see the crimes of this government, how they support every dictator and criminal on this earth. Sometimes you can feel down. Sometimes your morale can go down.
You getting a level on me?
Yep. Okay. You're all good? It's good. Okay, so we are live from the Icebox in the Gorbals, and it's an absolute honour to be sitting across the table from the Reverend D. Wayne Love.
How you doing, Mark?
I'm very well, mate. How's you?
Brand new, good, very good. Aye.
So back
been in Glasgow, you know.
Yeah, well, you're where are you
I
based?
think I'll move up here. I've been looking at igloos all day. Very nice.
So you were obviously, just to introduce you to the. How would you? In fact, you introduce yourself. What do you do?
I'm Reverend D. Wayne. I do what we call. I'm an Alabama 3. Normally I don't speak like this. Of course, Alabama 3's a pantomime, as you well know. But,
An acid country.
Yeah, that's right. Country house.
Country house.
Little acid house on the prairie. That's the best description I ever heard. The Alabama 3.
I take it you're back in Scotland because you're playing.
I was up, doing DJ sets. Thank fuck this time I didn't. Excuse me. Thank goodness this time I didn't collapse with pneumonia.
Yeah, well, that's right. You played the Twistettes after party, and then was that night?
Yeah, 3 years later, I was in Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Yeah.
And that was pneumonia.
3 days later, I woke up. My sister's in tears. You died. Well, I'm back. Sorry.
So you died?
Yeah, I did for nearly a minute, and it was interesting. And I tell you,
did you get the light at the end of the tunnel thing?
No, I didn't. I got a Kafka thing, Mark. I found myself in this huge office in what appeared to be something like Whitehall. Huge, big office with these big, long corridors, and I walked through the corridors and I got in this big room, looked like miles of it, and it was just, pigeonholes in the walls, and I couldn't find my forms. So then I woke up.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I was dreaming or I was going to the place and I just didn't get as far as the light because,
You didn't have your forms?
Well, whoever was working on the other side today, there's obviously cutbacks on the other side, so,
It's austerity affecting the pearly gates.
Right. So, you wait to go up to heaven, you might have a bit of a wait because, they've got to suffer the cuts just like we have. So, so back up, and I've been recording up here with David Rudden down at Carlton.
All of a sudden, David Rudden?
All of a sudden, aye. I mean, he's completely off the chart, Davey. I've known Davey since we were kids, and he's kept all his texts. Some of the racks he's got are should be in the Victoria and Albert and things now. I mean, and they're perfect next. So we're running a lot of his old tech and just looking at it again. And I've been doing a lot of analogue things.
Yeah.
I've been doing things outside of digital,
So Davey was obviously in America for a while. He was part of the New Jack City hip hop movement.
David produced Heavy D and the Boys, produced various sort of first and second generation hip hop people on the East Coast.
So is there a hip hop vibe to the stuff you're recording with him just now?
No, the stuff we're recording now is for a film about ostensibly about a guy called Professor Guy Standing. Guy Standing's a guy who's written a book recently, a couple of books, one called Basic Income and How to Achieve It, and the other one's called The Precariat Manifesto, which basically discusses how we've come to this situation now where people don't have working contracts, people don't have any stability, so everybody's position is precarious, not just as artists, but basically in the workplace. And so, she's making a film about that, and also about the burgeoning new unions outside the Trade Union Congress bloc. I mean, there's a whole sort of movement of disenfranchised people moving towards setting up their own unions, and then, once they've got a reasonable size number, they go to the TUC and try and rebuild the bloc in order to make the bloc more effective inside the Labour Party, in order to sort of, try and counter what's happening in Parliament. So I'm working on that, and this is all being done gratis. And the woman who's making the films, a woman called Lucy Fison's made some very good films before, and she's on the cusp line of finance, and so we hope that goes ahead. So I'll be coming up and down, from London to Glasgow in the next 3 months, just working on that. As we get the footage, we'll be tacking stuff onto it, and see how it goes.
So is it a documentary style film?
Yes, a documentary. And it basically follows Guy Standing, and Guy Standing's an advisor to John McDonnell for the Labour Party, and like I say, he has these various quite good ideas. I mean, the basic income's nothing new to countries like Australia, Switzerland, Sweden, Norway. Of course, have a basic income programme in place. I mean, rich countries like us don't have a reason not to have one.
To me, it's the only way forward. Eventually, we're going to need to, because as everyone blames immigrants or spongers, there's always someone to blame.
Yes.
And the reality is that, in my opinion, it's just automation's taking everybody's jobs, and there is no jobs replacing them. The robots are replacing the jobs. So going long term, if we want people to have, I think that a lot of people I don't realise they think that their job's safe, but eventually the robots are going to be able to do, automation's going to do a lot of these jobs that we take for granted.
Well, what Standing says is quite clear about in the Precariat Manifesto is that no one's position is safe. Everyone's position is precarious. For the very reason that bosses don't want you of safety. And I mean, this thing that you're talking about, immigration and things, when I hear people spout off about immigration, I often say, I wish your granny's name. Or even, oftentimes, what's your mother's maiden name? And oftentimes you'll find that those people, came to this country looking for work. People are always migrating where the work is. And of course, the bosses always know to, keep this migration up, because, then you can always undercut wages. And it's always been something that's, boringly obvious to me that this is what, this is something that comes for the top down, not for the bottom up. So you wonder why ordinary working class people are blaming other ordinary working class people for going and looking for work. When, you really should be saying, well, why are the bosses undercutting our wages? They're undercutting your wages because they're bringing people in from poor countries who think that they're getting a good wage. So, why are taking a wee bit more interest in yourself, a wee bit more self-interest in the part of working class people wouldn't go amiss.
And I think there's a lot of the blame goes to the media, who obviously they concentrate, and for a lot of working class people, especially if they're just trying to put food on the table, they're working all these underpaid jobs. They don't have the time to read up on all the facts. They maybe just get a wee glance at the front page headline, and it's always be scared of the immigrant, or be pissed off at the spongers who are apparently on the. Well, and if you actually talk to people that are unemployed or on benefits, they're having a really tough time, and there's no reality that the media spins is nothing like what's actually happening in the streets.
Well, it's like you say, people don't have the time, so they look at things, you see what's around them, like you say, so-called newspapers, TV, which is becoming more and more polarised, more and more propagandistic, more and more sort of obviously biased towards, the technocrats' position. And again, say people are struggling. So say it's a question of, isn't it, of convenience? It's easier than actually go sort of rooting about and looking at seeing what the problem is. So, all you can do is you just keep on keeping on, and you just try and make people aware of it, and hope that they'll look at alternative media and look at alternative sources, and maybe spend 15 minutes instead of 10 looking at these things,
And the problem we've got though with that is that we're all trapped in our own wee algorithm bubble. So if you're liking certain articles, then your Facebooks and your everyone's going to send you more articles like that.
Yeah.
So if you're already got an opinion that the immigrants are to blame, unfortunately you're trapped in that bubble where you're just going to get fed that stuff.
Right.
And whether that's deliberate by design, I think my opinion is it's all about money. So I think that they just want to sell advertising.
Yeah.
So they want to just feed you more articles that they think that you'll respond to.
Yeah, that and it is by design, Mark. I mean, and this is no new. This is something Walter Lippmann, the big PR man for Calvin Coolidge, through to Woodrow Wilson and others, in the 20s said, working class people could get out of hand. We can't just continue to use violence against them. What we have to do now is find a way of manufacturing their consent. And this is something that's more or less the manufacture of public consent through, or manufacture consent rather through public relations is something that's known since 100 years old now. So, like you say, I mean, and these have become based on algorithms now. Like you said, so you find yourself in a vicious circle, a wee flow where you're just going to be fed the info that suits the advertisers. So people have to find a way of looking outside the box.
And if you come out with an opinion, that fits that algorithm. It's going to go to the people that agree with you, so they're going to like it. So in your little bubble, you think everybody's thinking the same thing.
That's right.
And that's why you're getting such a shock culture between left and right, or misogynists and extreme feminists, because everybody in their world's like, well, that's unthinkable. And then in the real world, it used to be that we'd all have different opinions, but you wouldn't hate someone just because they were a wee bit different. They had their own reasons for it. But I think everybody's becoming more extremist in their views.
Oh yeah, I think things are becoming a wee bit more, or rather become more polarised, and this may well be a lot to do with digitisation, and like you say, people what they look at, especially through social media and through their phones. People are hardly looking at paper media anymore. So these are things that folk are going to work. Folk have just got to start looking at the books in order to find alternatives for themselves to be able to live it. And what I would like to see people do, man, is establish a wee bit more a currency of self-interest. I mean, the bosses have always had their interests at heart, and so it always amazes me when people look out for the boss's interests other than their own. And so but all you can do is just keep plugging away. I mean, we have a hard enough time working ourselves, and keeping work going. We musicians like us are all part of the precariat. Musicians have always worked under 0 hours contracts and everything anyway. And it can take you 10, 12, 15 years to get any kind of paperwork done between you and someone else, regards to selling your work or getting your work out there. So and this is outside again doing things in-house and selling to your sort of little audience. In order for you to get things out into the wider world, you have to be able to use that apparatus, and that apparatus has become more and more manufactured and more tailored to a very, very narrow audience. Even though it looks as if it's proliferating and growing exponentially, it's not. It's actually going inwards.
Why do you think it is that the majority of people do what you said about the look after the boss's interests? Do you think we're getting a little bit of the United States concept of, we think that we are going to be, we're millionaires in waiting, that we are going to be successful eventually, we will be those guys?
I think there's that. I also think there's a big element of fear. I think people are.
You don't want to lose what you've got.
People are worried of losing what they've got. I mean, you've seen this with resurgence in massive resurgence in race intolerance, for instance. I mean, you didn't see that degree of intolerance 20 years ago because there was a little more economic security, and the more and more economic security becomes, again using the word precarious, then the more and more people become frightened. and people's become covetous and covet their position, covet the little economic security they have, and as you said earlier, go looking to blame cast. So
long term, that's not sustainable.
And it's not sustainable. And of course, we're right on the cusp line now, another crash like 2008, and this time we may well not come back for it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Other countries are preparing for this in other ways. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but on Saturday, Sweden tied itself to a cryptocurrency. Sweden is the fourth biggest economy in the world, and it's tied itself to a cryptocurrency now. And more and more countries are probably now getting out of the petrodollar now. The Americans don't like that. So now we're seeing really vicious attacks, the most current one being the attack on Venezuela. Whatever anyone tells you about Venezuela, Guaido wasn't not even 20% of Venezuelans knew who Guaido was in December. The Americans have been attacking that state since the election of Chavez in 2002, and there have been 3 attempts at a coup there since. And now they're going to actually go in there militarily. They will be doing that soon, and we're seeing the corporatocracy jackbooting all over the world. What I would do is direct people to have a look at, rather than you spend 10 minutes on YouTube, I would also people spend 10 minutes on YouTube having a look at Noam Chomsky and Chris Hedges, and maybe instead of go to the Daily Record page, go to Truth, go to the Canary or something like that, and look at other sources of news, and basically when you're looking at the news, take 3 or 4 sources and then weigh them up and then balance them, and then you may have more, you may have more of a perspective on what your own opinion actually is, rather than just having it foisted down your throat.
Yeah,
which is what most people have got.
Yeah, I mean, I went through a phase of doing that. I'd start the day by watching BBC News, then watch Fox News for a laugh, and then watch Russia Today, and obviously they've got their own propaganda at play. But when you watch maybe 5 or 6 different news sources, you can usually work out where the truth is somewhere in the middle, just based on the language that's getting used, because these propaganda industries they're quite good at not lying specifically. It's about what they don't say or the way they word things. So it is, but sometimes you need a break from that as well. I wouldn't advise doing it every day, because it can be quite a depressing scenario. Yeah. But it's good to be educated in what is actually happening. And so I'm looking forward to this film. So you're hoping a wee bit of finance, and maybe some point this year, maybe.
Yeah, and if she already talking to various people, some of the unions, and she's on the cusp of getting financing. But the financing doesn't come through, we'll make the film anyway.
Yeah.
We'll drum up the financing, through the various. Through crowdfunding and these other things, and we've already got the developments come out of that.
And that's the positive side of the internet these days, as it stands at the moment.
How long does it stand for distribution, Mark?
Yep.
In order to get to big distributors where you can get the film seen, you have to be financed through the correct channels in order for them to pick it up, and it has to look. Everything's about the way things look now.
Yeah.
But to go back to what we were talking about, people being propagandised. I mean, the good thing about these various so-called news sources is that you can go in there and look at the text and mine the actual data, and then you can see the data, and then you can go back and look at that and compare that. Now, in one news feature or one news programme, maybe an hour long, you may get 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes of data. And it's the data that you can mine. It's not the opinion, because you get 1 minute of data and 59 minutes of opinion. People's opinion don't mean shit. But it's the data that matters, and once you start looking at the data, you can start seeing, patterns, and you can start sort of doing something about it.
Yeah.
So that's really the thing that people can be looking at, because I mean this is the upside, using the internet and social media, as that is unmediated. To a great extent, and that these people have mostly got a proprietary handle on it, but to a certain degree, there has to be an element of truth in it. That is, and the truth is the data that can be mined for it. So people just got to take out, you got to force yourself to give yourself another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like you say, people are knocking their pan in at work, they're coming in, you're on the way to put their feet up, you take another half an hour, you can really sort of arm yourself with the information you need. So, see what happens. I mean, this is not, like I said, this is nothing new. I mean, generationally, people are, the country's always in flux, and it's always sort of, in the throes of this precarious balance. So, but now I think we might be at an interregnum similar to what we were at in the 20s and 30s.
So
With fascism on the rise.
Yeah. We were recording this on the 31st of January, not sure exactly when this is going to be out, but this is the day after the House of Commons just had a vote, getting into some Brexit chat quickly. They just voted for Theresa May to go back to the EU to renegotiate, and they've already said multiple times they're not going to negotiate with her. I mean, what is going on there?
Well, that's a ham-fisted attempt at sleight of hand. I mean, you wouldn't see Darren Brown going out there.
Is it just running down the clock, do you think?
Yeah, that's right. It's running down the clock, and Theresa May in the 1922, that's Sir Graham Brady, in the 1922 committee, the 1922 committee historically have a terrible record. The whole point of this is to run the clock down and to see deregulation through. This is, as we're seeing in America, you've seen the American administration when Donald Trump came into power. He immediately put people into office, like, for instance, Scott Pruitt in the EPA, Betsy DeVos in education. These are people that are in there to ruin those offices. Scott Pruitt's, record on environmental protection is terrible. He caused earthquakes in Oklahoma by allowing massive fracking programs. Tulsa nearly fell into the abyss. Betsy DeVos, of course, everybody knows who she is. These people are not interested. They're interested in dismantling government so that we can have complete deregulation, no buffer between, the market, and the businessmen. A completely free market economy. And then, of course, when you have deregulation, you have no balances, you have no checks, no slays, and very, very quickly, whatever safety and whatever, whatever security you have in place very quickly goes to the wall. It's very simple and it's very easy to see. This is about deregulation, and it's about the bosses being able to have a complete control over the marketplace without any legislation interfering.
Do you think would you be more inclined to be pro-Brexit if it was some leaders in charge that you trusted to break away from you?
The difficulty with being pro-Brexit is extricating ourselves administratively from Brussels. I mean, we have. There's been a massive delay in the inception of new social security programs, for instance, universal credit's broken down and all that. And part of the reason for that is because the bureaucracy has been switched over to administrating these, the exit for the common market. Now, we're almost at the deadline, and we've got absolutely no further. They were only able to state in December what they actually understood what Brexit meant. And then, of course, they came back and says, well, it appears that we don't really understand it. And, of course, Juncker and the rest of them are saying, well, yes, you don't, because, you've made your deal, you made your bed, you've got to lie on it. And, of course, for us here in Scotland, where, we understand the perils of sectarianism, and that is a major issue, to bring back the border in Ireland, because, as the war has never been properly resolved, even though the headway that Mr Adams and Mr McGuinness and others, along with the British government, have made since 1998 and the Good Friday Agreement has been incredible.
Yeah, it's been a big leap forward,
We're about to lose all that. We're about to lose all that.
It's very easily be undone.
Aye.
And it's concerning, and I don't think a lot of people in London understand how serious this actually is.
I don't.
Or maybe they just don't care.
They know. They have. They haven't thought. No, you're talking nonsense. No talking nonsense. I mean, the real IRA is a real thing. There was a bomb went off in Derry City 2 weeks ago, and that was the real IRA. That was the continuity group. And there are 2 divisions of these people waiting up at the border. I mean, that's 20,000 men. And they're committed. And they're a 400-year-old army. This is no boys driving a motor into, policemen stood outside Parliament, or poor folk making their way home at a train station at night. These are trained, committed people that are in a historically, proven army. It's a very, 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 it's a very frightening situation.
Yeah. Do you have any positive hopes? Do you think there's any way? How can it go well?
I do, because everywhere I go, I kind of I have a belief in people, and I tend to think kind of in the same way as Rousseau did, that people are innately quite good, and I don't go along with the whole idea that innate environment makes us, and we can break out of our environment. I mean, you and I are working class people for Pollock and Poso. We have a frame of reference, and we're able to debate. So. We can see both sides of things. So this is not something that's difficult. So I think people are perfectly capable of screwing it on, and as they're pushed a bit further and further, you may well see what appears to be reaction at first, but then people, as I'm seeing now with these small unions, they give me a lot of hope because they're burgeoning daily. So people are organising themselves, and
and information is out there, which is a big difference from previous generations.
Yeah,
because we had to go on what the media said,
it
was
completely mediated, completely controlled. So I knew you can mine data, and that is that's veracious, and you can make your own mind up. So I'm not pessimistic at all. I'm pessimistic about certain aspects of the political process. I think that parliamentarianism in this country needs a really serious looking at, because the two-party system is now, as we well know, almost medieval. No other country in Europe does it. This whole first past the post thing. What we have to start seeing now is a multi-party bilateral cooperation. And this country this country's got a tradition of doing that.
Yeah.
So I think.
Do you think a no deal Brexit's just going to open the floodgates for independence?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, isn't it? And that's no good for you. Because that's even the idea of independence is even more marginalised. The idea of people thinking about in things in terms of national cultural identities and nationalities in general is not the way of the world anymore. Scotland, Ireland, Wales. These are not the countries. The countries are Facebook, Amazon, Google. These are the countries. These are the countries now. These are the flags people are waving. Nationality doesn't mean anything. You and I are no different from somebody in Tirana. My dad used to say this years ago, what do you want to go play football down in New Cumnock for? You should be playing in Glasgow. You're part of a worldwide urban proletariat. You've got more in common with somebody from Bogatar and somebody from the countryside, which, was the way the old communists used to talk. But, the point he was making was that, people that grow up in an urban environment are very, very much like-minded. I mean, Levi's, Nike, Adidas, Facebook, these are our countries. These are the signifiers of our national cultural identity.
Did you play football with New Cumnock?
I did did play a few games.
Did you play Auchinleck?
I did.
That's a tough game.
I did. Greenfield Swift, really hard games. Really hard games.
There's the rivalry between New Cumnock and Auchinleck.
Yeah,
that's
indeed.
Makes the old firm look like a walk in the park.
That doesn't a cool winning drill. I mean, Ayrshire football in Ayrshire used to be crazy when I was a kid.
They take the junior football very seriously, didn't they?
I mean, in those days, the games used to be, the finals used to be.
So how long did you play football for? Did you?
Just when I was a kid.
Yeah, aye. So when did the music thing come along?
Very, very early, man.
Yeah.
Very, very early. Where we're sitting now here in the Gorbals, my mother used to just live along at the end of Cumberland Street. It used to be called the Oatlands, Tory Glen Road. And when I was a kid, I was along there. It was Christmas. My mother and her friends were having a drink up, and Christmas Top of the Pops was on. And I remember this guy coming to it. It was Jimi Hendrix. And it was one of those experiences. It sounds hallucinatory, and it probably was. I remember the whole room just going quiet, and me sort of almost tunneling in to this guy on the TV and just standing there agape saying, Jesus Christ, what is that? And and then later, 3 months later, he played in what is now the Garage. It was called the Electric Gardens then in Sucky Hall Street. And I wasn't even 10-year-old. This was in February or March of 1970. And I sneaked out the window and I went away down there. And I was right, waiting my dad was sleeping. I sneaked in, I went in there, and I didn't understand why they would have let me in.
Did you try and
It's a
walk?
licensed premises, son. You know, so I went round the back and I got in a toilet window. They found me, put me out. I remember just sitting at the back door and listening to all this noise, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, and then from then on, you know, and I started hanging about with older guys, you know, that were growing their hair and things, and, you know, sitting around and listening to records in people's houses, you know, Hendrix.
So Hendrix is one of the many, any other ones from that young era?
Yeah, the Magic, Captain Beefheart and the Magic Band, Zappa, you know, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, you know, Black Sabbath, all that. I mean, in fact, anything that came to the City Hall or the Grange Playhouse, the Apollo, I would go to. I mean, I saw some real howlers, you know, but I saw some amazing things, I know. I mean, Led Zeppelin in the Grange Playhouse, you know, singing Rolling Stones in the Apollo, you know, because, I mean, relatively speaking, these are the big theatres, and I mean, I remember the Led Zeppelin gig was on a Monday, and I remember the rest of the week in school not being able to hear school teachers. I could hear anybody speak. My ears was just ringing. I thought I'd have tinnitus for the rest of my life. And apparently I heard later on that that's one of the loudest gigs ever clocked on record, you know, 115 decibel. You know, I mean, I'm lucky I left with my head.
Have you ended up getting tinnitus?
No, I've been lucky, but what I have got is... I mean...
how long has Alabama 3 been playing
Alabama
for?
3, me and Rob were talking about the day we first used that name in 1989, so it's 30 year. The first Alabama 3 record will be 30 year old this year. So I know, it's like, Jesus Christ. You know, and maybe, you know, there was other, you know, and then there was other names there
30th
before and
anniversary
after
tour
that.
this December or something like that?
Sorry, again?
Are you going to do a 30th anniversary tour?
No, because that's not strictly speaking. You know, there was the 20th anniversary of the first Alabama 3 LP as a rock group, because these were the first Alabama 3s were the Alabama 3s, like Alabama 3. You know, they were just house records. They were tech house records.
Yeah.
You know, which is just we always be a sampler and a MIDI keyboard and you know,
So when did the
Atari 1040.
So when did the sort of the country, the whole concept of Alabama 3 start?
We always loved that, me and Rich. So what happened was we would go out with the turntables, and we were in South London then. And this was, this was when what was called hardcore became jungle, and then drum and bass happened. You know, but it was called hardcore then, and all our mates were all, you know, Jamaican geezers and, you know, black geezers from South London, and, you know, Rob and I, here's me from Glasgow, and Rob from Melver and South Wales, and, you know, we couldn't do that like a ninja, coming on strong like a ninja. You just, you know, I'm not doing that. So we used to just, Rob get the mic, and we were playing the acid tracks and the tech and that, and we'd just sing Rob and me would just sing Hank Williams numbers over it.
Yeah.
Chris Christopherson numbers, and then we'd be, you know, we laugh, and we got into say we're going to merge all these genres, you know, and we're going to end up coming up with something that nobody's heard, and you know, and we go out and we do DJ sets. And one night we were in Brescia, in northern Italy, and it was in this big monastery. It was an amazing place, and it was a big do. It was during an election, and you know, they had all these caricatures up there, Alessandro Mussolini, and, you know, and that bastard Bossi, and, you know, the others, you know, fascist pricks over there. And, you know, and me and Robert up playing, we were playing after Chumbawamba, so the place was just full of crazy punk rockers and that. And I remember I was playing this acid track. It's called Star Dancer for this series called Red Planet for Detroit. The Martian was the guy who started that, you know, amazing series of records, Red Planet Records. Star Dancer, Red Planet #5, and Rob started singing me and Bobby McGee over it. And the two of us just fell laughing. We just fell pissing ourselves laughing. I mean, like acid laughing, you know. And saying, right, that's that. We know how to do this now. So then we got our mate Eddie, and he was like, Eddie. Great with the congas and the percussion. He used to have this wee suitcase with, you know, cowbells and vibra slaps and everything in it, and shakers, and we do congas and bongos, and then so we had that and the turntables, and we used to have a cassette, a TDK C90 cassette with loops on it, and we'd try and get the cassette into the records, you know, and then eventually we got a drummer, we got Johnny, and then my flatmate Orlando, the Spirit, great piano player, great guitar player, and then it started turning into a rock thing, like come to words what it is now.
Was there something about Berlin? Did you say something about Berlin in the early days? Were you in Berlin in the early days?
Yeah, we were all over, but mostly, Alabama 3 mostly were in northern Italy.
Yeah.
In Veneto, and we used to be based in this wee town called Feltre, and we would go out from Feltre, and in northern Italy, this is in the early 90s, and in Italy, Italy was because Italy's always been in flux politically, and it's always very polarised, and so in Italy in those days, there were these, in the little towns would have them, they were called CSOs, Centro Sociale Occupazione, Autogestiti they were called. It doesn't really translate, but it just really means autonomous zones, where people would, you get big, like a place like this would be abandoned, they would move in there, they would do it up, they put stages in there, they put a bar in there, they put a bookshop in there, they put meeting rooms in there, and then it would, and then they would occupy them. And so you would go into the major cities at the weekends, we'd go into Bologna, Milan, Turin, Verona, Ravenna, like that, and you would be going into big old theatres. The biggest CSO at the time was in Milan. It was called Leoncavallo, and there was 400 odd people who lived there. It was a whole piazza. We played there with Test Department once. There was 2,500 people, and the piazza was half full. It was incredible. And I mean, it's like saying Forte Prenestino in Rome, a 14th century fort with a moat. The Polish couldn't get in there. They used to just throw the bricks away on and get up in the battlements and throw bricks at the Polish. It was incredible, I mean, and then eventually, those places got stormed and they got closed down, but now they've started up again. So that's where we started.
Well, I think the first time I heard the use was it was the Lamac Live. I think Steve Lamac Live, and I remember I used to record with the tape recorder, and all the live sessions because I can't remember. There was a few bands had been on it that I loved, but I was just obsessed with recording anything from Lamac or John Peel, just because that was the only way that you could get new music in those days. Because obviously where I stayed, it wasn't a lot of new music. There wasn't many people to show you new music.
Indeed,
so these shows were really important. There was no internet. And I remember just recording it, and I just remember just kind of being like, what is this? It was quite just an unusual sound. And then obviously The Sopranos happened a few years after that, I think. But I don't know if you remember that Lamac Live. I don't know if it was I couldn't put a year on. It was just a recording of maybe Brixton or something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't remember that. I mean,
So how were things going? I mean, would you say that obviously you shot to international, worldwide fame with the Sopranos theme song, which I think is one of the coolest things I've ever heard in music. I mean, because obviously there's things you don't want to do a Coca-Cola advert because that's selling it. But The Sopranos for me is one of the best TV shows of all time, and I grew up with it because it's one of the last shows that I watched in and out. So The Sopranos for me, one of the best TV shows I've ever seen. And then just you have that theme song. I mean, how did that come about, and how did it change your career?
It's interesting. There's a good story about the getting the theme song of The Sopranos. Because obviously you have to be seriously just in to even compete. So that the impetus for that came from Geffen Universal in America, who we were originally signed to when we did the first 2 LPs, Exile from Cold Harbour Lane and La Peste. So we heard 2 stories. When we went to meet David Chase and a couple of the actors and some of the crew for The Sopranos in New York in Umberto's Clam House, doing a Little Italy one night. When we were talking, he says, I was going to have a different theme song for every episode. And one day I was driving into my work and I heard this song on the radio and I thought, Jesus Christ, this is a new conception of the blues, which me and Rob thought it was at the time. We definitely thought, nobody did a 16-bar blues for the synthesizers up. Usually it's the reverse. And you put all the digital on top. We did it all digitally for the bottom up. Anyway, she says, when I heard that, I says, right, that's it, that's the song, that just seems to correspond. And it's interesting that it corresponds with a mafiosi's life, because the song's actually, we got the idea for the song for a woman called Sarah Thornton. Sarah Thornton changed the law on domestic violence in this country. Sarah Thornton was a woman who spent 7 years in prison for shooting her husband. Her husband was an armed policeman who used to beat her. systematically every night. And one night, she just turned around and shot him with his gun. She changed the law when she was released from prison, and so we thought it was kind of ironic, and now it becomes an endorsement for mafiosi, union bashers that take their neighbours' money off them, But, so then we heard from David Chase, that's a nice romantic story for David Chase, but then when we were in Los Angeles, we met the music editors and they said, nah, that's just Dave and a nice romantic story. He's hitting you with the press, mate. Well, that's in a bidding war with 4 other big companies. And 1 week it's going to be your song, next week it's going to be somebody else's, next week it's going to be somebody else's, and then they just keep upping the bids, and Geffen Universal really wanted that. So they kept pushing and Hughes ended up getting it. So I tend to believe the music editors.
So it depends who's asking the question. The romantic one's quite a good story, though.
And of course, me and Rob have made up many apocryphal stories, because that's what you did.
Do you remember any other ones you've said?
He's
one more then.
Right, well, there was a story. The guy that plays Paulie in The Sopranos, Tony Sirico. Tony Sirico and me. I was down in Mott Street in New York having a drink one time with my mate Mauro Minella. Me and Mauro were in this wee pub in Mott Street. And Tony Sirico was sitting in there, and Tony Sirico was where Tony Sirico did a 7-year bit in the jail. He was where the Columbos. So it's and he's like, hey, what are you boys doing? And he says, I'm on holiday, and we get chatting. I say, I'm in a rock band. He goes, oh yeah. He says, what about you? And I think, I don't really need to ask you your job. I mean, I come from Glasgow. I'm just looking at you, mate, to be honest. Don't like to cast aspersions, but anyway. He says, I'm an actor. He says, aye, okay. Woody Allen movies, right? He says, aye, that's right. Yes, I've just done a Woody Allen movie. And I'm going to do a Martin Scorsese movie. And I says, oh yeah, what's that? She says, it's going to be called Goodfellas. It's based on a biography of a guy called Henry Hill, who was with Lucchese. I said, oh, fantastic, really. And we got talking, and he says, and I took him out to the car, and I played him the original version of Woke Up This Morning, which was 26 minutes, and was just a John Lee Hooker loop, Mississippi Fred McDowell loop, and me and Bob howling over the top of it, with this woman, Raisha, who'd been kidnapped by her voraciously religious parents, and we never saw again, which is why Rob accidentally became the singer. And he says, I love that. I'll tell you what, I'm going to tout that to be the theme song in my TV show if we get it. And they did get the TV show, and and then we did get it because Tony was good in his word. So mafia guys' word can be good sometimes, isn't it? Something.
Right, we're going to have a wee interval here because we've got a pool table coming in.
Aye, you did, mate. Take
so we're going to get.
I'm not in a hurry.
All right, cool. Well, what we'll do is we'll get another cup of tea.
Yeah.
That's all right. It's all right. It's cool. We're got. We'll keep the noise in. What you hear just now, we're in the Icebox, the new music arts venue of the Gorbals, and the sounds you hear in the background is a shutter going up and a pool table being brought in. So we'll come back in about 5 minutes after these messages.
I know we said we'd be back after these messages, but there is no messages really. We don't do adverts and you call that radio because we're sponsored by our Patreons, and we'd normally do comedy skits and some daftness, but it doesn't feel right to do comedy skits. So I'm going to phone Tom. Tom what? See if you can give me a very quick Jake story, and then we'll go back to the interview.
Right, Mark.
All right, man. How's it going?
Good.
Well, thanks for calling. You call that radio. So we're going to. It didn't feel right to do comedy skits, and we don't do adverts on You Call That Radio. So
All right.
So it's good to hear you, Tom. We're doing it. So we're in the middle of the episode with Jake, and you've got a few fun stories of Jake.
Oh, I certainly have. I remember one time we were talking about Woke Up This Morning, which was probably because it was used as Sopranos theme tune. It was probably the first Alabama 3 song most of us heard. And he was telling me that he was at a reception for the cast and crew of The Sopranos. And he went on a rant about the mafia. He was going on about how insidious they were. He was talking about how they exploited and damaged the American trade union movement. And he happened to be sitting next to, I think it was the actor that played Paulie.
Yeah.
And Paulie turned round to him and he said, listen, I'm from East New Jersey. We don't talk about the mafia like that. And Jake, completely unperturbed, sort of turned around and says, well, I'm from Portugal and I don't give a fuck. To me, that just summed up the guy.
That's brilliant, mate. Amazing, man, amazing. Thanks for that, man. Amazing. We'll put it in the podcast.
Okay, that's great, mate.
All right, nice one, mate. Cheers. All right.
Catch up soon. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Right, so we just we had a wee break there. There's a pool table and like an arcade boxing machine, a punch bag, a digital punch bag. A punching machine has been brought in as well. So kind of to explain the icebox, we'll have a wee icebox tour here. You've got old arcade games, you've got a bar, but it's a bring your own bottle set up here. But you can get crisps and juice there. We've got a nice wee stage here. They're still sorting out the PA. But I think that it's just run by New Hellfire Club, who encourage artists to, if you pay £25 as a musician, they'll sell all your merchandise in the record shop and you keep 100% of the profits. And just check it out, Icebox in the Gorbals, new venue, and thanks to them for letting us sit here. So, Reverend, how you doing?
I'm good.
So, we were just talking off here about actually hip hop. Let's just talk about that.
Yeah.
So the accent thing that obviously holds back the Scottish scene, because you're a fan of the Scottish hip hop, aren't you?
Oh yeah, always. I mean, hip hop's about the local. I mean, if hip hop's not about the local, then it's not about anything. You know, it's interesting, isn't it? That Fate's Genesis, KRS-One, Scotland Rock, whatever. Chuck D. These are all guys that sing about and in the accent of where they come from. So it's about, and as I was saying a minute ago, I mean, being all over the world, I mean, Chinese guys doing it, Czech guys, Polish guys, people all over the world doing it. So, what I get really miffed at is fuck that, that's the Proclaimers, mate. You're like, no, the Proclaimers are folk singers. That's just, this is hip hop, it's unmistakable. Listen to the guy's beats, listen to what the guy's saying, listen to the way the guy's spitting. I mean, if you kind of get past the parochialism of hip hop, and it is parochial by its nature, and you kind of see, when somebody's flow, you kind of see, how they, they're processing the beats with their mouth, because basically, flows are drum beats like scratches, and then, coupled with, somebody that has something to say, like that guy Loki, or a bunch of guys, Glasgow's got a really lively and thriving hip hop scene, always has. Like, Glasgow's always been, Glasgow's a major metropolitan centre, so, any kind of music that comes up is, always made here and made well. And I mean, you
actually came down to, you hosted one of our hip hop nights. Remember we did the wee one in the cafe?
That's right, yeah.
That was
exactly, yeah. And there was,
that was a wee,
people come through from Edinburgh, people coming from all over the place.
That was a wee night we used to run just for the younger up and coming guys.
And hip hop's a real sort of shit or get after pot environment. You don't know in the mic and do hip hop. You need to have something to say. If you've not got anything to say, then you very quickly, you very quickly know, and you very quickly take something else up. So, I think now that people see the undeniability of the power of some of these artists coming out of Glasgow and Edinburgh and elsewhere, it's the same I hear with people like down in Club of Clythorpton in Wales, and like Skittles and that in Manchester, and Little G and people like that. If hip hop can't be about the local, then it can't be about anything. I mean, this is obviously what I'm talking about, is what we would refer to as like in this sort of, in the rocker sense, it did in the consciousness hip hop, and not the gangster thing.
Yeah.
You know, the gangster thing, you know, I mean, the gangster thing's obviously not about the local, it's about, you know, the gangster nonsense. But, you know, with somebody that's got something to say, you know...
It's a Scottish cringe, isn't it? So we've got... It's like when...
Yeah, and it's the opposite of what we do. What we do is deliberately, you know, designed to be pantomime-esque because, you know, we were saying something different at the time, you know. So you can't do hip-hop in somebody else's accent. You just can't. It can't be done.
Well, the thing I think it is because there's two things that I think. One, you've got... We obviously grew up from watching London-centric TV shows. So the only time the Scottish guy would come on the telly was as a wife beater or a bad guy or the alcoholic or a Polish guy. And it wasn't a real Scottish accent, it was that overlay.
That's right. But it was a heritage of what FP, you know.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lecture in quantum mechanics. The guy's sitting there with a bottle of Eldorado. What's that about?
So, I think we've got the cringe comes from that because we're like, if you just listen to English accents all the time and then all of a sudden the Scottish guy appears, like, you're like, for fuck's sake. So I understand why people have got the Scottish cringe, but it's strange because it doesn't seem to affect us as poets.
No, it doesn't.
So when someone does a poet, having a Scottish accent is a good thing, or as a stand-up comedian, it's a plus. But as soon as you put a banging beat behind it, people go a bit weird.
That's interesting. No, that's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. As soon as you do that, as soon as you musicalise it, you know, then you seem to be, you know, you seem to be almost. It seems to be almost it seems almost to be a parody. People start thinking, oh, this is a parody of hip hop. This is somebody taking the piss out hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, with this hokey accent. You know, but I mean, it's essential in hip hop that people speak in the voice they have. I mean, otherwise it's no hip hop. So
that's that you can't. So, but I've got a couple of questions actually. I forgot about this. There was a couple of folk asked some questions for you. Try and read them. I'll just read 2 or 3 out. So Petra Jolly says, ask the Reverend if Harry the Dog was one of the best guest vocalists.
Harry the Dog, Petra. Harry the Dog isn't a vocalist. Harry the Dog is Harry the Dog. And you know, we were in awfully altered state at the time. We let Harry get on the mic and very, very quickly we realised not to let Harry on the mic again, and consequently Harry is now managing the Wenatchee tribe and doing a very good job. Thank you, Petra.
So is that the end of that one?
Yeah, move on. Don't like to say any more about Harry. You get a hold of me and kill me.
Okay, James Sweeney says, that's the Rev, will there ever be peace in the valley?
Not until we get the keys to the mansion on the hill, as Bob would have it, and a you for Mary Hill, mate. You know, because I hope there will be peace in the valley. I mean, the last time I was up there, it was peace in the valley because, you know, everybody...
Because it had valleys?
You know, everybody, you know, I was walking about in clouds of, clouds of Daft Punk smoke. So I imagine it was very peaceable then. But yes, and... you know, until Rob gets the keys to the kingdom, there probably will be the peace in his valley anyway, and you know, and of course, until
you've got to watch out for the fake street valleys as well these days.
There may have to be a review of free prescription drugs in the valleys as well, because that may have an effect on you know, how the peace process goes. You know,
John McKinley says,
all right,
John, legend. John McKinley says, ask the good Reverend about Backstreet Black and the Janglettis, I think they're called. Meant to ask him myself that. Mate of mine was telling me snippets about it.
Janglettis, Janglettis was a group I had with Maggie MacDonald when we were teenagers when I first went to England. You know, think of the daftest names you could. You know, we changed the name all the time. So, you know, Janglettis was very short-lived. But what we did do in the Janglettis...
What kind of tunes was the Janglettis?
It was what would be categorised now as indie rock. Janglettis existed for about 1978 through 81. And Janglettis actually did some very good gigs when we first started getting it off the ground in London. You know, but it was very, very short-lived. And, you know, it was one of those things where you would get, you know, you lose 6 months, 8 months without work, you'd just work up your gyros and toss them all together and print up 1,000 singles and go into pub gigs with them and sell them at the pubs, you know. And apparently people are finding these singles now for 70 and 80 quid and all that, so I need to route about and see if I've got a box of them somewhere, because they're fucking unlistenable.
It's in good gigs.
It just goes to show you, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't understand why they become collectible. Possibly more because of the kudos Maggie's garnered for herself rather than anything me and Bob have done. But to be honest, John, I wouldn't even know. I don't know where to begin, you know. Is
there nothing online? Is there any evidence?
Hardly any of that was ever even really properly recorded. Somebody told we made some videos once. A big old porta pack, you know, and a big old clunky camera. And I think somebody might have uploaded one of them onto the YouTube, so you might be able to find it, but God knows what it was.
You had good gigs with them, did you? I was asking Lucy earlier on about, have you ever had any bad gigs? That's a silly question, but is there any ones that stand out bad gig-wise that went wrong?
Jesus, there was one in Montreux, in Switzerland, a very posh affair, massive attack. Big youth, culture, Siggy Marley and people like that. And, was in this big old castle. And guys doing our lights, Chris Mackay, Mackay was a complete dope fiend at the time. I mean, you used to have to shovel them up and put them into a bucket to get them up at the gigs. And they had this big brand new lighting desk, a big brand new soundboard. And they were on tiers, so the lighting desks were on this quite high tier, but 12 foot down. There's this big brand new desk. It's about £250,000 worth of kit. Mackay's pie-eyed drunk. He's got a bottle of 12-year-old whiskey up there at the board. He's steaming and he can't see 2 feet in front of him, and he knocks the bottle of whiskey out right onto this big posh new board, just as Belgian mushroom are setting up. And they've started off, and you can see, you can see him at the front. You can see him at the front of the stage, and you can see him like this, you know. You see him mouthing, and you're like, "What's he doing? Is he impersonating a guppy? What the fuck's going on there?" You know. And of course, Mackay had knocked out the whole board. Every single in was done. It was just the whole thing was just whiskey slips out. You know, and it was quite a big pyre, you know, so there was a lot of consternation, and we had to say he had been banged on the head on the way through for the airport, and he wasn't himself. But ended up all right, we ended up getting the money, you know, but we had to sack Mackay, you know, we had to send him off to, sell his wares.
So was that after you'd already played then?
Sorry, say again.
So you had already played at that point?
Aye, we'd already played. Actually, we were all right.
So how did that
go? No, you know what? I mean, like I say, this was in Montreux in Switzerland, so they just pulled that board out. Said, "Sorry, folks, we'll be back in an hour." Just pulled it out. Bump, bump, bump. There's another one up there and running an hour. You know, and you're like, can we take the old one? You know, we can fix that. And I think you should just leave and never come back to Switzerland.
So is any more? Give another one if you've got any more. I'm sure
that just be some really silly ones. I mean, there was one Bob, Bob flying off the stage, bring his arm and his leg in his San Remo down in Reggio Calabria, and we were all that drunk, and any of us knew, so we just went and left him. You know, so we just thought he's jumped off, and and it's quite a long drop. Like, he's buggered off, so I just took care of the mic. He's like, "Okay," she said, "we get laid or something, fine and dandy. Okay, that's magic." And then we packed up and we went going. And he got left in Reggio. And then Bob, he was even like this then. You know, he's like a big star, Bob. So, you know, he's like the Queen. He goes out with a handbag and 20 pence in it, you know, in case he needs to make a phone call. So there he is, stuck in the Reggio with all the Drangheta guys, and you know, and it's like, "Any chance of getting any money for the bus up to Milan, mate?" Yes, if you work in my shop you work in my shop for 3 months, you work your way up to Milan, mate. You know, anyway, I got left, I got left in Sicily, you know, because I got blind, roaring drunk and fell asleep in a bass bin. I curled up in this bass bin at a big rave up outside, just outside Palermo. I curled up and they said they couldn't wake me up. I mean, it was a drum and bass night. I'm just going to get 5 hours DOS. I'll crawl up into that bass band. And shoved a load of cotton wool in my lugs, and I was out for hours, and they all just buggered off and forgot about me. The gigs used to be really chaotic, but now we've got Walsh here looking after us, so nobody gets lost, nobody gets left behind.
Was that before you had a manager, or was the manager
No, well, the manager, we were all just a sort of wee gang then.
Yeah.
So, after 4 or 5 years, people sort of got assigned job titles, but up until that point, it was just like everybody does everything, everybody chop and change, you do this one night, I do that, and everybody just finding their feet, so... but so it was a really good laugh. We got carried away with Milan football hooligans one night. It was one night we were in this place called Cox 18 and Via Conqueta up at Porta Ticinese in Milan, and we were playing. We only had a few numbers, and so we used to scoot, get the guitars out, and sing Hank Williams numbers and what have you. We're up there and we see these 30 guys coming in, and they're all lumps. But we ate acid. And we were sitting there, and these guys all got their shirts off, and they're just looking at us, they're just growling at us. And the more and more, and me and Rob's looking at each other like, what was that? And then we started getting really tripped to it, and I'm like, all right, let's see what they've got. So I stripped into my boxer shorts, and there's this guy he was a semi-detached hoosty guy, right? And so I just jumped on him, and I shoved my tongue in his ear, and I kind of dry rode him a bit. And his bottle just went like that. I could feel it. And we nearly farted the big fucking, and then the guy, some of the guys are still our pals. The guys had Rob up on their shoulders, took them around the venue. They told us they came down there. It turned out that they were for Inter. And that place was AC guys. And they came down there for a rub. I ended up pals and all that. That's me and Bobby Peacemakers that night.
Football casuals and acid. Acid
right.
casualty.
Yeah. And I mean, that could, they could have just, wiped the flareways. I mean, if the guy would have just got a grip in me, he could have just squeezed me, he could have just concertinaed me. But, we're all pals. So what's the power of pop, mate?
Power of pop, indeed, mate. What's the best gig? Are there any gigs that just stand out when the hair's in the back of your neck and you're like, wow?
Sometimes once, the one way. There was one at Glasgow in 2006, and it's been recorded. And it was incredible. It was incredible. There was nearly 80,000 people there, and we was top of the bill at that. With Roy Ayers and Roots Maneuver, and that was an incredible gig. When we got off the stage, we went round the side of the stage, and the punters were still going mental for about 5 minutes. That was something else. There's been really good ones. There was a really, really amazing one 2 years ago in a pub in Dunfermline. A pub in Dunfermline. 200, maybe not even 200.
Was that Monty's?
It was PJ Malloy's.
PJ Malloy's, sorry, aye.
That was sensational. I mean, and we got a recording of that, and that's the best live recording we ever had. I mean, that was just a sensational gig, and then something, because you're saying you don't know what's going to happen at these things. I mean, expectation's something that we can take out the equation now, having done, nearly 3,000 gigs. But, anticipation used to sometimes get the better of us, but now we just go, you're like, all right, and we'll just do it, and then, we just hope that the punters get what they came for. And we don't quantify in the same way we used to now. I mean, I don't quantify good or bad, you get, I mean, you gauge when you look. And also, you're permanently looking at the exits, and you're like, oh, all right, oh, yeah. 2 punters, and oh, no. Right, they're starting to leave. Yeah, get it up, they're starting to leave, and then he watches the door, That's 4 punters, start getting up, because they're starting to leave. That's 4 punters. And then, of course, it come back and like, that's all right, it's just where the cars are. Okay, now I'm going to carry on. So it's a long time since we chased anybody.
I don't know, I think it's coming through one of the machines.
It's me.
Is it you? All right.
So unprofessional, I've been up to an airplane.
That's all right. Well, all right, we're actually got Gordie Duncan Jr. in the background, you might hear as well.
Duncan.
Yep.
Hello. I'm just earwigging here.
Aye, well, just one thing I was also want to ask, man, about before we wrap it up is, so how does the writing process and the recording process go with Alabama 3?
Sometimes it's a very because we did all this recording last year, we thought we would try things that were, generic. So, being from South London, he says, we've never done dub before, so let's try and do a dub record. We've got Jamaican guys in, and a couple of the Nigerian guys, and we made this dub, and then we made a country thing where we did a couple of our favourites and wrote, we'll try to write proper Texas country, proper Tennessee, try to do it generically. And then we did a kind of techno thing, an acid thing, and then we did one that we just called Drunk. So A, B, C, D, but the guys in the office are bad. They're like, oh, what are you doing? I mean, you just spent a whole year. I mean, fees get through the roof and we can't use any of that. So
what happens to the tunes? What will happen to the tunes?
We'll bring them round. It's no offence, but it's the office boys. I mean, they're good at going out and get the ginger. Leave it on to us. Go out and get the sausage rolls. You know what I mean? That's what you're good at. You go and get the sausage rolls and then make sure you bring back my bus pass. You just leave it on to us. We'll be all right. So no, I reckon next year they'll come round, because obviously as well, you never know. But the writing process is because there's a lot of people in Alabama 3, so people write in wee groups. Two people here, 3 people there, and then our recording rooms are small, and so there's 2 or 3 people in at a time, and so you're doing things rotationally. And of course, as the technology's developed, that's become a lot easier because you can pass files back and forth, and you can pass quality files back and forth. So the writing process is altered, and it alters, and it becomes tailored to the technology we're using. But at the moment, we've been writing, and we've been working with new guys. There was just taking a back seat in this one, and working with a couple of new guys, and so these new tracks have got a different kind of flavour, and we've got some gigs at the weekend. And then this is, like I say, the end of January now. So, by the time people hear this, we'll have more or less be finishing pre-production.
Did you used to write words before you started the music?
Sometimes.
So was it even for as young as maybe just scribbling down some thoughts?
Sometimes, and that's right. Sometimes, you're just like, oh, that's good. I'll keep that in the mental Rolodex. That's good. And then sometimes, it would be the reverse. You'd just be fidgeting about, you'd get a beat, and then it would just, and then of course you can be sitting about, pottering about in the studio for 3 and 4 days at a time, getting nothing, twiddling your thumbs, getting restless, going in and out for a fag, going blah blah, doing this and that, drinking endless cups of tea, bar, and whatever, and then go to the off license, like, it's 6 o'clock now, I can have a can of beer, but then somebody just, it's what we like to call a happy accident. Something happens, and then everybody's like, oh, there it goes, and then it's just that wee spark, so what we obviously we're able to do now is, after having had such a long-term relationship, is now that everybody can see right away. When that wee thing happens, everybody goes, oh, there it goes, right, get on that. When I start building up on that, start layering that, start doing that, start adding things onto that.
Can you remember the first ever song you wrote?
The first song?
Or a lyric, one of your first lyrics?
Alabama 3.
Or just in general, aye?
First songs I ever wrote were, when I was a punk rocker in Glasgow, when I was a teenager. They were all daft things about, the spirochetes and cankers, and just daft stuff, and at that time, Jim Kelman and Tom Leonard and people like that were making really serious innovations, and doing things with the Glasgow accent and putting it on the page. So there was a lot of that, like we were talking about earlier with the hip hop. I mean, punk rock was kind of the same ethos. You did things in your accent. So, you know, a lot of what I wrote, what I personally wrote was, you know, was like that. You know, and then when I went down the road, you know, we started trying to do more a sort of rock and roll type of thing, and you know, the classic sort of guitar, bass, drums, singer setup. You know, you start moving away from that, and start looking at things a wee bit. You start looking into things a wee bit more formally. You start looking at the way, you know, the way people construct things. You know, get to know your song. You be able to pull it apart, put it back together again. You know, so you're learning basic mechanics. You know, and the more and more it goes on, you know, and then the more and more you can sort of noodle about with it and tweak it. You know, but being basically with us, it's always this sort of spark, this thing. You know. Mostly a lot of the time just starts with somebody saying something, somebody writing something, one line, or somebody just, you know, pushing the ring button, or somebody just hitting a, you know, some sort of dissonant chord in the guitar. Even sometimes you just, and then like, oh, that's great, we'll jump on that, you know.
Has there been any Scottish bands from that you've worked with coming through and you thought they're amazing and they just never made it?
I mean, God, Jesus Christ.
Any good bands that you'd maybe know
so many. I mean, when we were younger, and all that punk rock thing was going on, we thought James King Jimmy was just an immense writer, great writer. You know, I mean, and his contemporaries at the time, Edwin Collins, Jim Cairn, Charlie Butcher, and people like that. Jimmy was, you know, we thought anyway, Jimmy was the best of us all. You know, he was just brilliant. You know, he just didn't get a break, which goes to prove, you know, things on there about, you know, people don't see talent all the time, you know, because, you know, a lot of the time that gets you to a certain stage, and then you have to have all this external apparatus come into play, you know, which is to do with marketing, more or less, to do with marketing. And so, you know, that, I mean, I'm not saying I know the ins and outs of why somebody like James King didn't become as well known as he should, in my opinion, still be. But, you know, I could possibly, you know, guess and postulate that may have had something to do with it. But I've seen, you know, there's a bunch of guys, I mean, Christ, you know, Maggie McDonald is another one. I mean, you know, great writer, great, you know, guitar player, everything else. You know, I think to a certain extent, you know, you could say the same about Paul Haig through in Edinburgh with Joseph Kay. You know, they didn't get where they should have. A bunch of other folk. You know, the list is so long. I mean, because this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, there are always, you know, in a major city like Glasgow, there's always really good stuff on about all the time. You know, so I mean, a lot of that isn't going to go through. And then, of course, there are the ordinary economical constraints. I mean, people got to go to work.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then, like, for instance, with us, I mean, you get to a certain stage and then you say, okay, am I going to commit to this, or am I not going to be able to? And a lot of the time, people are just not going to be able to because of, you know, the family commitments and the ordinary stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the ordinary day-to-day is just keeping a roof over your head and keeping the clothes on your back and something in your stomach, you know. So, you know, I mean, you know yourselves. I mean, once you say, I'm committing to this, you have to go on your arse for quite a long time. You run about with the arse hanging out your trousers, you know. I mean, and some of the silly things me and Rob did. I mean, you're going up to tourists in Basel in Switzerland and sticking a pencil and letting them in a cash point.
You got money.
You know, well, not strictly speaking. That's not strictly speaking true. Sorry, Strathclyde or whatever you're called, police now. I didn't do that. But you know, you literally said, you know, busking was always the thing with us, busking. You know, so you decide to commit to it, so then, you know, you stop working at your job, you go out and you date, and then it becomes, you know, you go travelling, and then you know, in the afternoon you're out in the train stations and, you know, tourist spots with your guitars, trying to drum up money to eat and that, and then you just, you know, going round pubs and bars and whatever at night, saying, look, listen to this, you know, and give us a shout if you like it, you know, we'll come in and play for you. You know, so I mean, and the process can take an awful long time. So,
would you say what country was quite more welcoming to that kind of thing?
I always think Europe. Basically, you know, the Low Countries, and especially Benelux countries, you know, Norway and Belgium, and you know, Italy, Germany, You know, they seem to just be a wee bit more open to things, you know, and then they seem to be, it seems to me that when people go out, you know, they're not really bothered too much about quality as long as it's danceable, you know, because they don't seem to me to take it so seriously. You know, I mean, you know what it's like? It can be like here. It's like cities like Glasgow and Liverpool and Manchester and that. I've got great traditions there, like, you know, these great groups that have been coming to them for generations, and people tend to sort of stand there and go, oh, you know, well, it's not the Beatles, is it? It's not a sensational Alex Harvey band, is it? It's no Simple Minds, is it? It's not Orange Juice, is it? You know, you're like, well, okay, but the Europeans, to me, or rather than my experience, they don't seem to be like that. You know, I mean, sometimes me and Rob, the original version I woke up this morning was 32 minutes long, and it was 4 loops with just me and Rob spouting complete total pish about it for ages, for hours, you know. And then until, you know, one night, you know, we worked, it was like, well, look, we'll just do this as a blues, right? So write some bluesy words, and we had this singer, Raisha. She was great. And so we've got the mic set up and all that, and we've got EQs just nice and warm, the way she wants it. And she's like, all right, I'll just give myself a Savoy and chips and I'll be back up. And she disappeared. Right? She disappeared. We were looking for her everything. We're like, oh my God, you know. And then months later we found out she went down to the chip shop, and her family, who were religious fanatics, part of some strange cult, had been following me and Rob and her. And they saw their opportunity, snatched her out the chip shop and took her away back to the commune. And we never saw Rachel again. So Rob had to go in the booth. So, no, I went in the booth and had a go, and we're like, and then the peers went in the booth and we're like, oh man, it's worse. And then Rob went in and we were like, what did you not say before, for? You could sing. You could have said before, you could have said, I didn't know. I didn't know. That sounds quite good, that sounds quite good. And we're like, John, you know, when we're looking at John Wilkinson, the engineer, and we're going, is that you doing something to him? And he says, no, that's Audrey, that's just him. And we're like, go and do that again, you know, and then that was it, you know, and then he says, oh, look, you know what, this is it. We've got to start writing songs for us rather than just doing these, you know, these techno tracks. He said, we're going to start tailing these things down. So, you know, again, a happy accident.
Brilliant, man.
And the rest is, you know.
The history. And you're still making history, you're still touring about. Busy year ahead.
I'm not so busy with the gigs and that, but not until probably around about May now, because we want to make another good LP. And,
your 4th one this year?
To be fair, it'll be the 6th. I mean, I only mentioned the 4. There's one we don't even talk about. There's one we don't even talk about. It's that good. It's that good. We're not even sure it was us that did it. We think you know, the visitors from the sky might have divined it through us. That's wonderful, because we're not sure it's us. But you know, and then you know, in the summer.
Actually, one last question I want to ask you about the festivals. I've never been to a festival outside the UK. Is there any European ones you'd recommend that I'd check out? Probably it would need to be European in my budget.
They change every year, but you know, they change every year. And I'm terrible. I'm not very good at the names of these things.
Just give the country and I'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we were at 2 in Croatia last year, and they were sensational. And I can't remember the names of them for the bloody life of me. And we were at one in Czechia last year, outside Ostrava. And another one through in Slovakia, just outside this wee town called Terezin. Beautiful spot in this old military airport. There's Benicassim down in South Spain. There's Festiman in Madrid. You know, and there's Pantoflodoro up near Turin. I've started a festival, and we were at that 2 years ago, and that was really, really nice. I mean, some of them are just in really sensational spots, you know. So
and a wee bit of guaranteed sunshine as well.
And you know, and the food, it's Italian. You know, it's we went to a big union conference in Sofia in Bulgaria, big 3-day thing, 2 years ago, and that was just amazing. I mean, none of us had ever been there, you know, and we're like, I didn't want to leave. I mean, tomatoes, like fucking beefsteak tomatoes like pumpkins and that. I mean, you know, I was like, Jesus Christ, eat better than the Italians. I'm starting here, you know, and it was like 30 pence for a pint and stuff like that. I was like, if I've got a pal in Belfast that's now got a, you know, just say that's a fact. I got a pal in Belfast that's got a wee holiday place, so I'm going on my holidays in Bulgaria this year. And you know, I may well not come back. You know, I may well just set up a tent out there and get myself a wee 4-track desk and start pottering about and making folk music, and coming in my hair and wearing sandals and a caftan. You know,
Sounds all right, mate.
yeah, save myself all the bother of run
Better
about.
get, for the Brexit, get away for the Brexit.
Yeah, that's right. I get
A wee tent in Bulgaria before
getting
they close the borders.
Yeah, that's right. You know, of course, you know, knowing my luck, you know, my passport will be up and I'll not be able to get it. And then, of course, I'll not be able to get back up to Scotland because I was born in England.
All right, aye.
The only thing Scottish about is my accent. You know, because I think my ma was quite conscious of that. I was born in Dagenham in East London, and I think my ma brought me up the road before I started sounding like a tube. So, only kidding, man, folks.
So, any closing words, mate, before we...
Well, no, really, just be good to each other, and also, you know, start looking out for yourselves, and start, you know, people just start, you know, and start getting on this Scottish hip hop thing, because it's undeniable. I mean, and you know, people, you know, I really don't very much more to say than that. You know, just going to enjoy yourselves and try and, you know, this Brexit thing is, you know, it's inevitable, and you know, people are eventually going to have to try and resist the degree to which the bosses want to deregulate. It's going to have to, because otherwise they're going to starve and go to war. It's as simple as that.
Nice one. Cheers, man. Thanks for doing this.
Well, I'm not.
Take care, man. All the best.